Welcome everyone to this emergency meeting of the Neshoba Regional School District School Committee on April 16th, 2020 at 9 a.m. We are meeting remotely via Zoom technology, and our Zoom meeting is being live streamed by Bolton Cable Access. So thank you to Nikki McCatchy for helping us out today. So at this time, see if you got your flag. Jody, have your mug?
No.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance, folks. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we have one agenda item, and it has to do with the MSBA feasibility study. So I'm going to have Elaine read the motion.
Yes, I did my
whole thing?
warm-ups.
Yes, so I hope people brought snacks and a beverage. Go ahead, Elaine.
All right. And here come my kids.
Oh, good.
One of which is completely naked, so we're going to try to want to say hi real quick?
Hi. I said,
Hi.
how are you, sweetheart? It's good to see you.
All right, Mom has to read a very long speech right now. Okay.
See you later. Bye.
All right, so this is the form of vote for the Regional School District School Committee. I move, it says voted, that the Neshoba Regional School District hereby appropriates the amount not to exceed $1.5 million, in parentheses numerically, end parentheses, for the purpose of paying costs of a building/modernization project of Neshoba Regional High School, 12 Green Road, Bolton, Mass. 01740, including all costs incidental and related thereto, parentheses, the study, end parentheses, said amount to be expended under the direction of the Neshoba Regional High School Building Committee. To meet this appropriation, the district is authorized to borrow said amount under and pursuant to MGL Chapter 71, Section 16D, and the district agreement as amended, or pursuant to any other enabling authority. The district acknowledges that the Massachusetts School Building Authorities, parentheses, MSBA's, and parentheses, grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA, and any cost the district incurs in excess of any grant approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the district, provided further that the amount of borrowing authorized pursuant to this vote shall be reduced by any grant amount set forth in the feasibility study agreement that may be executed between the district and the MSBA. Further voted that within 30 days, parentheses numerically, from the date on which the vote is adopted, the secretary be and hereby is instructed to notify the Board of Selectmen of each of the member towns of the district as to the amount and general purposes of the debt herein authorized as required by the district agreement and by Chapter 71, Section 16D of this general laws. Forms of school district member town meeting article and motion. Article to be determined. To see if the town will approve an amount not to exceed $1.5 million borrowing authorized by the Neshoba Regional School District for the purpose of paying costs of a building/modernization project of Neshoba Regional High School, 12 Green Road, Bolton, Mass. 01740, for which the district may be eligible for a school construction grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, parentheses, MSBA, and parentheses, said amount to be expended at the direction of the Neshoba Regional High School Building Committee. The MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA, and any study costs the district incurs in excess of the grant approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the district and its member municipalities. Any grant that the district may receive from the MSBA for the study shall be set forth in the feasibility study agreement, and that may be executed between the district and the MSBA. Move to rescind the MSBA feasibility study vote taken at the April 8th, 2020 school committee meeting, and move forward that the town hereby approves an amount not to exceed $1.5 million borrowing authorized by the Neshoba Regional School District for the purpose of paying costs of a building/modernization project of Neshoba Regional High School, 12 Green Road, Bolton, Mass. 01740, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto, parentheses, the study, end parentheses, and for which the district may be eligible for a school construction grant from the Neshoba Regional High School Building Committee, that the town acknowledges that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA, and any study costs the district incurs in excess of any grant approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the district and its member municipalities. Further provided further that any grant that district may receive from the MSBA for the study shall be as set forth in the feasibility study agreement that may be executed between the district and the MSBA, provided that the approval of the district's borrowing by this vote shall be subject to and contingent upon an affirmative vote of the towns to exempt its allocable share of the amounts required for the payment of interest and principal on said borrowing from the limitations on taxes imposed by MGL 59, Section 21C, parentheses, Proposition 2.5, end parentheses, and that the amount of borrowing authorized by the district shall be reduced by any grant amount set forth in the feasibility study agreement that may be executed between the district and the MSBA.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Who seconded? Oh, Mary, thank you. Okay, questions, discussion?
Maybe, Kathy, let me just tee this up just really quickly to say that this basically, the only reason for this particular meeting was as a result of the fact that the first motion did not reflect the regional school district, and this language today does. And this is just really for the public to understand that we're not doing anything different here. It's exactly the same. It's just that the language of this particular motion reflects the regional districts. And I want to thank MSBA for catching this yesterday afternoon, because we did not realize that there was specific language that had to be in there for the regional schools. I also want to thank the bond council. I was going back and forth with bond council last night just on a couple of questions I had, and he was just outstanding. And again this morning, so I want to thank him. Pat, I want to thank you for all of your efforts and for getting a hold of Mary right away to deal with this, and Mike Macaro as well, so our own legal counsel. So I just want to put that out there. There's nothing brand new in this at all. It's the 1.5 million. It's all the same language, except this reflects the regional school district rather than the language before that did not have that level of specificity in it. That's all this is.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Joseph.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. I had one quick question for the superintendent. Now, all this language, this all came from the MSBA?
That's
all of
correct.
It? Okay.
Yes.
And I don't know if you'd probably know the answer to this, but I do find it curious that as far as what they're asking for, I think it all is pretty much summed up in the first clause or the first sentence of the proposed vote. But it does say that we're paying for the cost of a building/modernization project. And if I've looked at other warrant articles for other regional schools and municipalities, it always says that we're appropriating funds for a design and feasibility study. And this seems like a deviation from the language that's been used by other towns and regional districts. Did they
We can certainly change that little piece there, Joseph. We can change that little piece if you'd like to make that change.
Well, I guess it's really up to the committee, but the only reason I say it is that, when you look at this and you present this to town meeting, that's the first question I would have. I mean, are we funding a building project, or we're just funding the feasibility?
Right. That's a great catch on your part. Yeah. So you know what? I would recommend that we change that little piece of language in there to reflect the feasibility study. Thank you for bringing that up and catching that.
So Brooke, my question then, and thanks Joseph for bringing that up, but my question is that the language that Elaine read, the motion, was verbatim from MSBA, and I don't want to quibble, but I'm just surprised that they know that this is what we're seeking funds for, that, they didn't give us that version, or
feasibility. The actual, are you talking about Joseph's the feasibility
yes,
study?
because it makes sense.
Yeah,
Joseph is saying,
and he's absolutely right. I don't have an answer for that, Kathy. To be honest with you,
can somebody make a motion?
Yeah.
To amend the language to reflect what, Joseph? Read it again. So what's your suggested amendment to the language?
My suggestion is, or my motion would be to amend the motion that the vote we're taking should be for the purpose of paying costs of a design and feasibility study, as opposed to a building/modernization project. Because I think
that's a great catch.
Okay. Alita, do you have that?
Oh, she's muted.
Yeah.
I do. Amend the motion.
All right. So the motion is to amend the language to reflect that the funding is for feasibility study. Do I have a second?
For design and feasibility study.
Say again?
For design and feasibility study.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Mary?
So,
Who seconded that?
Leah? Mary?
okay, so that rather than, I think we should insert for the purpose of paying costs of a feasibility and design project for a building modernization project. I mean, I just don't know that we should take out language that MSBA had in there.
Well, that language was just that little piece was in part us. Now,
Oh, it was.
but they didn't disapprove it.
Oh, all right, good.
So we that's what I'm saying. We have that little bit of wiggle room right in there, so we can play with that. Like a couple words there, Mary. We're okay to play with that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other, Leah?
In all of this, is that the only spot within the motion that references building and modernization project?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so can we vote Steve, did you have a question? Okay, Mary, did you have another comment,
Well,
question?
I do, because I think we need to reference what kind of a feasibility design project we're talking about.
And I think, Joe, did you mention that? The feasibility study for what purpose? In your suggestion?
Well, I mean, I don't have any issue with what Mary was suggesting. I think it's to add the language in that says that, we're seeking appropriation for a design and feasibility study for the purposes of a building/modernization project of or at Neshoba Regional High School.
Right. That's exactly what that's exactly what I took away too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to further add to this, and I think Leah brings up a good point as well, that if you do go through, I think there's the, it's just a question of form. I think we're approving a lot of stuff here that we don't need to approve, but I'm not going to quibble with it if this is what has been recommended, because you're talking about the actual motion, that we're approving the language for the actual motion that would be made on the floor of town meeting, the verbatim motion there. So I don't know if we actually need to do that as part of what we're doing this morning, but I won't quibble with it. But I would concur with Leah that, anywhere where it says building/modernization project should be
We
struck.
need to no, that's exactly right. That was my takeaway as well.
The amendment should be universal throughout the entire.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the amendment would be to add that the money would be for feasibility study and to include the other statement that Joe made, and to delete any reference to the monies being for a building/modernization. Is that correct?
No.
He's got a tie-in with that, actually. He's got.
Yeah, excuse me, wait. Alita, it's difficult to hear you.
No, that's because somebody else is talking. No, Joe's motion was to, for it to read cost of the design and feasibility study for the purpose of modernization or building of it. So it's just put
I see.
before.
Yeah.
Is that correct,
Feasible study
Joseph?
before, yes.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
All right, okay. So we had a motion to change the language.
Let's
And
vote the first motion first, Kathy.
the first motion is, read it again, don't not the whole thing.
No,
The first motion is what Elaine.
amendment first.
You gotta vote the motion first and then the amendment.
And then I can't hear, I think if you're not, talking, could you mute? Go ahead, I'm sorry, Alita.
So you have to vote Elaine's motion first, and then we vote the amendment.
Okay.
No, the other way around.
No, Steve's correct.
No, then we're voting, I would
You
think.
have to
that
do
we'd
the
have to
amendment first.
No,
Yes, Steve's correct.
because we're changing the motion.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah,
You're
but
voting.
change
You're
the
voting to say that yes, what I've proposed is appropriate to insert in the motion, and then the next motion would be the Elaine's motion as amended. I
But
see
you're
Mary's
still
nodding her
the
head.
Orders of the motion.
I agree. That's exactly how I think it should be.
Change the order of the motions.
You have to do the amendment first.
Correct.
No, but we made the first motion first and then the amendment motion second.
No,
Are we required to then say we want to do the second motion first? You can
yes.
tell I'm not up on my Robert's rules.
You have to do the amendment first
No,
because
that-
that
to
will
me,
then
that makes sense.
include,
Okay, so Are we ready to vote on the second motion to amend the language?
Mhm.
All right, so roll call vote. Stephen?
Yes.
Kathy, yes. Mary?
Yes,
Leah?
Yes.
Elaine?
Yes.
Joseph?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And Brett?
Yes.
Okay, so it is unanimous. Now, can we vote on the first motion to accept the motion as read by Elaine with the amendment because it reflects language required for regional school districts?
Point of order, Madam Chairman, is there any
Yes, Joe.
possibility that we can ask, so I brought up that issue and I apologize, I'm not trying to monopolize the time here. And I did read the superintendent's motion, email this morning, said it's going to be 10 minutes. I do not want to exceed that 10-minute limit.
Well,
But I did-
actually, the agenda has us adjourning at 9:30, and I wondered how we would make it that long, but so go ahead.
I did have a couple of quick questions for the superintendent.
Okay,
And maybe I can just ask this one question and it'll answer all of my questions. There's a lot of language in the motion and the proposed votes and the proposed warrant article language that talks about, first and foremost, a regional school building committee. Okay, so
Mhm.
would we don't have a standing committee on that. That will be
No.
formed. Now, when do we anticipate that that committee will be formed?
I think when MSBA tells me that we're ready to do that.
Right now.
So there is nothing in place right now at all.
No, but what I'm asking is, and again, I'm speaking more from the perspective of a town meeting voter. And I read this warrant article, I read the motion that the money's going to be expended under an Neshoba Regional High School Building Committee. Okay, so
Right.
come June, if one of us, Kathy, Brett, you, myself, or before the town meeting, will we then be able to say, yes, we have a committee already in place, or is it anticipated that this committee would be formed after the vote?
I suspect that the committee will probably be formed after the vote, quite frankly. The committee is not in play yet at all, and it's going to depend really on when our eligibility period really starts, because remember that our eligibility period has not yet started, and that may even be pushed back. So that
Okay.
would be almost like jumping the gun, and I don't want to do that.
Okay, so what we would explain to anybody in the town who is interested would say, yeah, the language says that it'll be under the auspices of the school building committee, but we'll be
Right.
forming that once we get 2/3 approval for this warrant article and we're moving forward. Oh, okay.
Hang on.
100%.
I want to go back for just one step there, Joe. It's not going to be 2/3. If we don't have all three communities vote for this, we can't do.
No, you misunderstood my
Oh,
spread.
I'm sorry.
This amendment, this warrant article is going to require, I believe, 2/3 majority vote of the town meeting.
Oh, I see individual towns. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah, it's a 2/3 majority, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm adding in minutia that we don't really need to. Okay, the second and last question is, and again, this is lawyer stuff. You look at the language, it talks about shall and may, two very important words in practice of law. And one of the things that we talked about as far as the feasibility study was concerned, what there was going to be a reimbursement for the municipalities. According to the motion, according to the proposed warrant article, it says that any grant that we receive, which I assume is the reimbursement, will be subject to the provisions of the feasibility study agreement that may be executed between the district and the MSBA. I think it's fair to say that the second and third sentences of the motion and everything else, it's a lot of MSBA cover themselves language, but it's fair to say, would it not, that we will be entering into a feasibility study agreement with the MSBA?
No, we wouldn't dare say that right now, because we don't know that. We have to get through our eligibility period first successfully, and then MSBA will take a vote to see if we can move to that feasibility period. So for us to say we're just going to go there, I think would be foolhardy for us right now, because we are not at that level. And keep in mind that we're taking this vote in a proactive manner to just make sure that the funds are sitting there, and because that will be part of the process when we get there. So right now, actually, when I read that, what's in here, it all makes sense to me. I absolutely understand it, because there's no guarantee of any of this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more questions or comments? Mary?
I think we have to move this motion and second it before we vote. Move the amended motion.
I think, well.
It
yeah,
was, it was
I
moved and
didn't
seconded.
move the if Elaine, would you just,
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I think, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
no, are we ready to do that, to move the amended motion?
Well, you know how I'm sort of a stickler for, we have a motion on the floor.
No, Mary, move the
And then
motion.
we discuss
Yep.
and then we vote.
Okay, Mary,
I just wanted to
second.
point out,
Move the motion.
we don't have a motion on the floor yet, that's all.
Then make it, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay. So I move that we move the motion as amended.
Thank you. Can I have a second? Anyone?
Second.
Only, okay. Any discussion or questions?
Yeah, I did it one, again.
Okay, no, go ahead.
I know, I'm killing you. I know I'm killing you this morning.
Not yet, Joe.
And I'm gonna defer to Steve on this
I'm
one.
centered. I did my mindfulness stuff. I'm centered. I'm ready for you. You go.
It's not the amended motion. I believe Elaine made the original motion. Does not Elaine have to remove as amended the motion? And then it also has to be seconded by the same individual who seconded it?
I don't know.
Let's do,
Who knows?
I'm not sure, but
Here.
let's do it anyway.
Okay, wait. Let's, Mary, go ahead.
I agree, let's do that.
Okay, so Elaine,
My screen froze for a second. Here we go.
we can hear-
I move my motion as amended.
thank you. And who seconded?
I think I did, so second.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Mary?
I'd like to remove my motion that I made.
Which
Yes.
was this one? Oh, the one that Elaine just made?
Yes, but I'd like to,
Okay.
I had one on the table. I can still see it there. So
Okay.
I would like to remove that.
Okay.
I honestly have no idea what's going on right now.
I think somebody might have to second it and maybe we vote to get rid of it. Because
If a motion is, I don't remember us deciding to table a motion. I think it was just in the process of discussion. So I don't think there's anything to remove. Elaine made you made the motion that Elaine was supposed to make.
yes. So I would like that, the motion I made tabled.
No, you want to
Withdrawn.
No, 'cause
withdraw
we're
with
making
the motion.
What?
Elaine is
Withdraw
making.
it, you don't table it.
Correct.
Oh,
Withdraw
withdraw.
the
All right,
motion.
thank you,
Withdraw.
Steve.
All right.
So oh, God, Lord.
What?
So now we're clean.
So the
Correct.
very
Elaine
first
moved-
motion that he,
Elaine
Very
moved
first
the
motion that
adoption of
Elaine
the
read.
amended
Wait,
motion.
no, Stephen, with all due respect, I have not recognized you. And Alita, you know how much I love you, but I haven't recognized you either. And unless you can make that picture wiggle so I know when you want to speak, I got nothing. So I'm gonna let Alita speak and then I'll recognize Steve. Go ahead, Alita.
very first motion that Elaine made,
Yes,
it was Mary that seconded it,
yes, okay,
not Leah.
okay, thank you. Now, Steve,
Mary second, okay.
are we good?
Elaine made a motion to accept the amended motion.
Yes,
Mary seconds it,
yes,
and then we vote.
thank you. Are everybody good with that? Okay, oh, Mary,
I would like to second the motion.
thank you. So, are we ready to vote? Okay. Steve,
No.
Kathy, yes. Mary,
Yes.
Leah,
Yes.
Elaine,
Yes.
Joseph,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Brett.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes 6 in favor, 1 against, 0 abstain. Is there anything else for the, no? What, Steve?
I think there are 8 of us here.
Oh, I'm
Seven.
sorry, then 7, thank you. I'm so used to having a full contingent. So it's 7 yay, 1 nay, 0 abstain, correct? Very good. Now, can I entertain a motion to adjourn at 9:25 a.m.?
So
So
moved.
moved.
All right, I'm gonna let Mike Horish have that because he's been quiet. Thank you, Mike. Okay, second,
Second.
Joseph. Okay, Stephen,
Yes.
Kathy, yes, Mary,
Yes.
Leah,
Yes.
Elaine,
Yes.
Joseph,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Brett.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
day. And as always, be well.